This is the standing supported abduct and shift activity. What we're going to do here is get something about waist height, like a desk or a box works great. And we're going to have a book underneath the foot that we're going to be shifting to. So this is going to be the left side in this example. And we're going to take a slight step out with the right side, maybe just slightly wider than hip width. I wouldn't go much wider than that for most people to start. Now, step one, keeping your hands supported on that right there, you're going to round your back a little bit. Just do a little tuck of the hips. So if your pelvis was a bowl of water, it's not spilling out the front and your ribs are flaring, you're going to tuck it underneath you a little bit. Okay. Now the goal here is to feel your whole foot flat on that book. That book's maybe 1 to 2 inches thick. That's all it needs to be. And you're going to use your foot arch on the opposite side to push you into your left side, whichever side's on the book. So the outside of your foot is actually going to come off of the ground so you can push through your foot arch. The effort is about a 3 or 4 out of 10, not much more than that. So notice that as Trevor did that, he's going to find his left heel and he's going to sort of like get his left hip to come slightly outside of his knee. He's not going so far to where he does that. He wants to just subtly push from the right and get into his left like that. So he's going to slightly side bend. He's going to feel his whole foot flat on the left, weights in the heel, maybe a little bit of stretch in his left outside hip, and he's going to feel his right outside hip activate to push him over to the left side. So that's like your glute med area right here. One thing you want to make sure you do with this activity is as you push from right to left, you want to make sure that you keep your hips tucked, but also your left knee stays in line with your toes. So if it flares out like that, you're going to lose your left foot. You want to make sure that it's going in a little bit. You may feel some left inner thigh adductor muscle, and that's okay, but you do not want to feel your left hip flexor. If you are, you're probably trying too hard and trying to bend your hips too much and getting into it like that. You don't want to do that. Make sure you're pretty upright, your hands are supporting yourself, and you're using that right side to sort of push you over. Again, the effort is gentle. Most people will try way too hard on this. It's just a 3 out of 10. If you're struggling to feel your right outside hip working, your glute med area right here, just behind your hip bone, then there's 2 things. 1, you've taken too far of a step out with that right leg, so bring it in closer to your midline. 2, you need to add a little bit more reference. So adding a towel roll like this will bring your foot into more of an everted position, which will give you more leverage to push gently over to your left side. And if you're really struggling to find your right outside hip, you could put the towel roll up against a wall and you could find some way to set up a box close to the wall or whatever works. You could rest your hands on a chair, whatever. And then you could take the right foot and push it into the towel, which is resting on the wall for more leverage. Just make sure you're pushing through your inner heel and ball of your foot underneath your big toe right here. And again, not a lot of effort. I know I sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but if you try too hard, you're just gonna lock everything up. And then you're gonna use that to get your hip to go slightly outside of your knee on the left. The only big common mistake on this exercise is people are gonna extend their back as they shift left. Make sure you keep a little hip tuck, which will help you stay more neutral as you go into that other side.